There's a new joke going around. What did the 5 fingers say to the face? Slap!
Nerdrotic.com.
Color me surprised. Kenobi has been fascinating to watch. No, not the show. Disney failing. Hell, if I'm making another Disney Star Wars video, things must be bad. And if you're a fan like me of Disney Schadenfreude, it's Christmas. This is unprecedented for D+. Currently, we have a Disney Star Wars product and a Disney Marvel product on the Disney product streaming service, and they're both failing and forgettable. All in a week where Bob Chapek went all Game of Thrones on Peter Rice, the head of Disney's TV division, and replaced him with his own assistant. And the stock tanking is just that cherry on top. But back to Kenobi. How much worse can things get after episode 3? Much worse. I don't think I'm telling you anything you don't know already, especially after 10 years, but Disney is very bad at making Disney Star Wars and television in general. Kenobi is the last Jedi for the prequels. But I don't want to bury the lead here. In some circles on Twitter, the most controversial thing about the 4th episode was hiding Leia under a trench coat. While that is one of the dumbest things I've seen in Disney Star Wars, and I've seen a lot of it, I would say it's not that unusual for a Disney employee to be hiding a 10-year-old under a trench coat. So little 10-year-old Leia, who runs like a toddler but was still able to outrun full-grown adult species, gets kidnapped even though she shouldn't be in this show at all. This leads Bail Organa, who completely failed at his one job, to go to Obi-Wan Kenobi to get him to fail at his one job. Culminating in the rematch of the century that never should have happened, Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan Kenobi, the single worst lightsaber duel in all of Star Wars. All these events in the first 3 episodes conspired to create more contradictions than the Amber Heard defense. Of course, at the end of the 3rd episode, little Princess Leia gets kidnapped again by Reva, played by the master thespian Moses Ingram.
Obi-Wan is dead.
Start the 4th episode with a back-to-tank because we haven't seen enough of those in Disney Star Wars series lately. Then we spend the next 10 minutes trying to figure out how they're going to break into the Transamerica building. With Ice Cube's son, we also find out that this little base has T-47s and they're used to haul sewage, so that technically makes them sewage speeders. You know, there's nothing like seeing 2 great actors play off each other, like Walken and Hopper in True Romance or De Niro and Pacino in Heat. And you get the exact opposite with this interrogation scene between Moses Ingram and Vivian Blair. I don't know why I keep trying to apply logic to the show, but instead of using this interrogation scene to maybe learn more about this brand new character, Reva, the formidable inquisitor who's having trouble breaking a 10-year-old, nope, it's predictable, it's by the numbers, and it just serves as filler as Obi-Wan bumbles around the Transamerica building. Speaking of Obi-Wan bumbling around the Transamerica building, the Inquisitorius Fortress or Fortress Inquisitorius, whatever the hell it's called, we get the first of a couple of scenes that really encapsulates Disney Star Wars. A bunch of dead Jedi encased in amber. I half expected to see George Lucas in one of these. Reva gets interrupted torturing little Leia because of course she's not going to get tortured. This is Disney Plus. And then we get a very sloppy rescue from Kenobi. This is directed like a student film. Not to be outdone, Tala escapes by slapping a stormtrooper on the helmet. Who knew that was their only weakness besides not being able to shoot? Then the Empire finds out that there is indeed a Jedi running around in the home base of the people whose sole purpose is to hunt Jedi. I can hear the Disney Star Wars fans now, but it's following the beats of A New Hope. Yeah, badly, and that's all Disney Star Wars can do in a decade is regurgitate a film from 1977. Let's get this over with because we still have another episode to cover. There's a lot of bad shooting, and Kenobi, who had trouble moving a little device on a table 5 minutes earlier, can now go full-blown Jedi. Then we get peak Disney Star Wars as Tala, Kenobi, and Leia reunite. They decide to hide Leia under a trench coat. I'm watching this scene again. This is so stupid. Meanwhile, nobody notices that giant lump on the right side of Kenobi and those 2 extra little feet. And I love the Disney Star Wars fans' justification for this, and my good friend Mahler pointed this one out on Twitter. Star Wars has always been dumb. So they finally get caught, but then the stormtroopers and Reva conveniently wait for the sewage speeders to come in and save everybody. And no, I don't know why Reva runs like she's got a bad back. And let's tip one out, or F's in the chat, for Wade's sacrifice. Who's Wade, you ask? Well, let's go over his entire journey. Don't worry, it won't take long. We'll miss you, homie. Respect, Wade. You know, it wasn't enough to completely deconstruct Jake Kenobi and make him a loser. Now it's Darth Vader's turn. By the way, Reva took out Wade's sewage speeder by flinging a car battery at him, but I guess she didn't need to do that with all the other sewage speeders. It'll be fine. Now remember, in the previous episode, Darth Vader mentioned that he would kill Reva if she screwed up one more time, and Darth Vader shows up and he starts choking her, and I'm liking this. But it turns out that Reva's master plan is to fail at kidnapping Leia with Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers and then succeed by accidentally running into her again, bringing her back to the Trans-America building, knowing that little Leia would somehow get rescued by Tala and Kenobi and get away so she could plant a tracking device in little Leia's little droid. Vader then relents on choking her and positively affirms her, just like any good fan fiction would do. But not to worry, because this is all schemes within scams, and if you thought that one sounded dumb, wait till the 5th episode. Starts with a flashback where Hayden Christensen is back and he looks like a middle-aged 19-year-old. Guessing budgets aren't what they used to be at Disney Star Wars. So little Leia's little droid turns evil, you can tell, because now the eyes are red and not blue. The droid not only serves as a tracker, it serves as a saboteur, while locking down the facility with the refugees so the transports can't get away. I'll give you one guess who they send to fix the door, and no, it's not Ice Cube's son or an Eternal. Then, inexplicably, Bail Organa contacts Kenobi, and he starts the conversation by saying, "I know we meant to not have any contact, but I was getting worried because you didn't contact me." I'm sure that won't bite him in the ass later. Basically, we spend the first 15 minutes of this 30-minute episode with exposition and filler. Reva and some CGI stormtroopers arrive at a door that they can't shoot through with cannons, but apparently they can have a perfectly normal conversation through. And this is where we get the big reveal that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Reva was hunting Vader all along. She was indeed the youngling in the first episode, and apparently she survived, and she wanted to get revenge for all the children that Anakin killed by joining the Inquisitors and killing adults and children. This is signature Disney logic and morality. Then Reva tries to blame Order 66 on Kenobi, asking him what he was doing while his friends were getting killed. Almost getting killed. Then this show goes full Loki because, yes, I'm getting some serious Sylvie vibes from Reva. Abandoned to die as a child, taught herself all these force powers to infiltrate a giant organization only to destroy it. Reva breaks through the door, there's a big cave battle. The stormtroopers actually manage to shoot a couple of people, but not as many as they should have. But Tala gets the big hero moment here by blowing herself up with a thermal detonator, and I want you to remember thermal detonator. Now, Kenobi was begging Reva to join him, and he decides to give himself up to draw out Darth Vader so Reva can kill him. Then in a second scene that encapsulates everything that is Disney Star Wars, we see Kenobi kneel to a woman once again, but this time it's Reva. And just like the door conversation, they start whispering to each other about betraying Darth Vader in front of all the stormtroopers, who at this point are just functionally retarded. Instead of keeping Kenobi on his knees surrounded by 60 CGI stormtroopers, she sends him back into the caves with 2 so he can easily escape. Leia not only fixes her droid, which simply had a restraining bolt on it, she also fixes the door, and I'm surprised she didn't say, "I bypassed the compressor." And the transport easily escapes because they used a decoy ship, and, you know, that giant area with the giant door where the ships are taking off was conveniently left alone by the Empire. Vader was able to use the Force to pull down the decoy ship. It was barely an inconvenience, but somehow he couldn't do it with the actual ship that got away. Reva then sneaks up on Vader, and of course, we get a better duel between Reva and Vader than Kenobi and Vader. Meanwhile, throughout the episode, they're mixing in the training duel between Kenobi and the middle-aged 19-year-old Anakin Skywalker. All really driving home things we already knew. You know, the things that led Anakin Skywalker to the dark side, being impulsive, always needing to win, not having control over his emotions. And just like when Anakin Skywalker ran through the young Reva and just left her to die without actually checking, he does that once again. He runs her through and leaves her to die without actually checking, but not before we get the return of a big character. That's right, the Grand Inquisitor is back. How? I don't know. Apparently old Qui-Gon should have just shook it off. Oh, and yes, Vader knew all along that Reva was the youngling that he didn't quite kill during Order 66. How long did he know this? I don't know. Was he using Reva to draw out Kenobi? Okay, sure, but wouldn't he have access to the same information? Wouldn't the now alive Grand Inquisitor have access to the same information? And I guess Reva's big plan after surviving Order 66 was to train herself in the Force so she can join the Inquisitors to eventually find out the connection between Kenobi and Bail Organa, then set up the kidnapping of a girl she couldn't have possibly known about by hiring Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers to fail at a kidnapping that was meant to draw out Ben Kenobi, which they do.
This is not myth.
Only to let Kenobi and Leia get away, but then eventually run across Princess Leia randomly so they can take her back to the Transamerica building to draw out Kenobi once again so she can get closer to Darth Vader. Are you keeping up? The thing is, Reva was next to Darth Vader a couple of times, and a thermal detonator would have solved that problem easily. Reva has spent years killing men, women, and children to get revenge on Vader for killing men, women, and children.
That doesn't make sense.
So basically, Darth Vader's a moron because once again, he leaves Reva to die, and of course she's not going to die. And there's just enough time to make Bail Organa and Kenobi look like morons one more time. Reva conveniently finds the communication device where Bail Organa blabs about Luke Skywalker, and the last scene is a little kid sleeping that doesn't look anything like Luke Skywalker. And surprise, surprise, Disney Star Wars fans were once again sold a bill of goods. Classic, vintage, signature Disney bait and switch. They were sold Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you got Tala and Reva, all in a compact 6-episode series filled with 30-minute episodes filled with filler. It's no wonder they came out swinging at the fandom before the show even came out, because again, they knew they had a giant turd, and the does not stop there. Let's go over to Rotten Tomatoes. It says it has 227 reviews at time of recording, and nothing is displayed, and this has been going on for days. And what's coincidental is the same thing is going on with Ms. Marvel. 181 reviews and not a single displayed critic or top critic. Yet you can see it with all the other movies like Top Gun Maverick. Go see it. But I'm sure it's a big coincidence coming from the company that admitted openly that they changed their entire platform to protect Captain Marvel. Ultimately, Disney knows they're producing crap because they're not producing entertainment or art. They're producing content for their platform, all in service of the message. There most certainly is an interesting Obi-Wan Kenobi story to tell, which can involve Darth Vader without them meeting. But did it really need Reva or Tala? Has Reva added to this story? Has she added to the character of Darth Vader? Has she complemented the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi, or just taken screen time? Don't get mad at us, get mad at the writers who didn't feel like it was a worthy enough character to actually take the time to make her compelling.
Ewan and Hayden. You know, you can't be a Star Wars fan and not want to see that again. But also the new characters, the new energy, being able to add new stuff to canon and new stuff to Star Wars. It's like, you know, it's a great honor to be able to do that.
But of course, we're all racist for pointing that out. Well, as Ben Kenobi says,
some things can't be forgotten.
And Disney can say 2 + 2 = 5 all they want. We will be here to point out that that's complete bullshit every single time. But because there is a synergy and a balance to the universe, wow, Disney Star Wars' Kenobi and Disney Marvel's Ms. Marvel flop and flounder on a streaming service on the same week that Gina Carano premieres Terror on the Prairie. And that in itself is a victory. Hail Gina Carano. Hail to the fandom. I will see you in the next video.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.